Let's get into it, man. It's a lot of things going on in the sports world, man, as we get towards the end of 2023. But let's talk about rivalries, man. As you know, you are a diehard Ohio State fan.
I am.
My brother Flows, if y'all watch 79 at the Hallis, a diehard Ohio State fan. 3 years in a row losing to Michigan, man. What do you feel about that, number one? Because I kind of feel like the tide is shifted in the balance of power with this rivalry.
The tide has shifted. The tide has gone. And I have to apologize to your brother for calling him 38 times during the game. But, yeah, I mean, the tide has shifted so much that Ryan Day's on the hot seat for it.
Yeah.
Because you cannot continuously lose that game. Lose to Valparaiso State or whoever the fuck else, you know what I mean? Yeah, that shit happens, right? That shit happens. Yeah. To continuously lose to Michigan, especially this year when they're under scrutiny the way they're under scrutiny, they put their dick on the table. When it comes down to it, they gave you a fuck you. They're under investigation, as we know, about, cheating, basically doing their own kind of Spygate and all that shit. Yeah. So to lose to that team under those situations without Harbaugh on the sideline,
even worse.
That's
even worse.
Yeah, no, and I threw out my leftovers. I was done.
I kind of think when you look at it like this, I think a lot of people, as somebody like me who really only started paying attention to college football this year, mainly because I do this great show and I want to be as informed as I can.
Right.
And also, I feel like I was missing out on the craziness of college football. And also, my team, as you see, the Chicago Bears, who I unfortunately not only root for, I cover. That we're actually doing this on bye week, so I don't have to worry about them this week. But I wanted to figure out, who are some of the guys who are going to be in the draft. So one thing I've noticed is with this rivalry, even if somebody paying attention from afar, this is kind of like the Duke Carolina of college football. And so something that kind of stood out to me is rivalries in sports. Well, I feel like we grew up in times where there was more of a rivalry. Of course, you're a diehard Yankee fan.
Sure.
Yankees, Red Sox. I remember saw those classic battles, 03, 04,
Don't
Pedro.
talk about that.
Pedro
Stop.
fighting Don Zimmer. There's been different things like that. Do you think, even if we look at something with the NBA in-season tournament, do you think that's going to be something that can build up rivalries? And is there a chance in just sports in general for rivalries to make a comeback despite so much roster movement with free agency and trades nowadays?
Because, yes, the short answer is yes. The long answer is because the fans dictate the rivalry more than the actual players, right?
Definitely.
So the movement can happen no matter what. It's the jerseys that we root for. It's the right? So, I'll tell you a true story. The only time I've ever gotten into a fight at a sporting event is with Boston fans. Mm. Both times. It was the Celtics fans, and then when I was in Fenway. Those are the only two times I've ever gotten into a physical altercation. Getting into physical altercations is bad. It's wrong.
Never do that. We don't co-sign. We don't co-sign that.
Okay.
But if you do, make sure it's a Packer fan, because there was one time that I think I'm pretty good at being non-biased, keep my professionalism. But last year, I made my first visit to Lambeau Field. And I hate to admit it, it's actually a nice stadium.
Yeah.
Really pissed me off when I went there that the people were welcoming. But after the Bears lost for the 100th time, as I was making my way to the press conference room, now it's an old-ass stadium, so you got to go through the crowd in the main concourse to get to the interview room.
I got you.
And the chant, Sunday Night Football, it was night. I've been up all day. All I hear is Bears still suck. And I was hot. I almost cut some grandmamas out, and I was like, stay positive. So if you're going to knock any fans out, make sure they're Green Bay fans. We talking about rivalry means between the fans.
Right.
It doesn't matter that the Bears haven't beat this team in 5 years, period. It doesn't matter that we haven't beat them in Lambeau Field in almost a decade. But we're all circling that Week 18 game, no matter. Both teams aren't good this year. Right. But if you're the Bears, you want that win. You want to end the season with beating this team without Aaron Rodgers. We may both be bad, but we still, for the first time, we have the better quarterback. So like you're saying, those rivalries mean something. And I believe what we're seeing from the in-season tournament is I think you're going to slowly start to see even rivalries we haven't seen before become rivalries.
Yeah, the in-season tournament, listen, when it first came out, we all wanted Silver's head, right, for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like now watching it, you see how competitive everybody has been about it. Because when it comes down to it, money is king, and $500,000 is on the line. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck how much money you have. $500,000 is $500,000. You know what I mean? So,
and these dudes get paid every 2 weeks. I think people forget that they get paid. It's higher than most people's, but they get paid every 2 weeks. And if you're not good at managing your money, $500,000 can help regardless.
It'll help any situation. So, and I also think that, like, with what you're saying, like, the actual on the court play, I'm not a huge fan of today's NBA the way I used to be growing up. But at the same time, I'm still a basketball fan, so I'm always going to be locked in. And I just feel like the play of the tournament, the intensity of it at least, it has been fucking amazing. And to what you're saying, I think rivalries are going to be born out of it, right? Where the Lakers Suns, that's the matchup I want to see. I think whoever wins that wins the tournament. That's just how I look at it. I just don't, listen, I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm also realistic. I don't have that in me anymore to just blindly.
It's a relief when that gets out of you.
Yeah. I just don't.
Relief. If there's anything that covering the Bears has done, it's brought some of my realism in, which is I don't let them ruin my day. I'm not saying I don't get upset. Like, when they blew that lead to the Broncos, I sat in the press box for about 15 minutes because I couldn't hear Eberflus say the same thing he tells us every damn week after blowing that. But it's something where they used to ruin my weeks, bro. Like, used to ruin my
You can't watch SportsCenter. Yeah, no,
you can't watch SportsCenter. Like, even like with the wins, like, and we're recording this early, but like this past Monday when I did Monday Night Football in Minnesota, it was they won, but it was one of the wins where you didn't really feel like happy. It was like, that was a nasty game. They won, but it was just like you see with non-Kool-Aid colored glasses, you see it kind of differently.
Like you had sex, but the sex was a 4.
Right. Like, it was still good, but it's like it was like,
just this. Like,
I could have been fine. I could have been fine without it. That's pretty much what that.